Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the North East Non-League Show. Join us tonight, Stephen. Stephen, thank you for joining us.
No problem, mate. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we've had a few little issues with our audios before the show, so I had to do a couple of restarts, and hopefully that'll do the trick. Because I can hear myself from my end, so hopefully you can't at home. But yeah, lots to go through tonight, isn't there? I mean, we've got the FA Vars, results, FA Cup, you name it, FA Trophy. It's all been happening this last week, hasn't it?
It's been quite a frantic week for football, hasn't it, really? There's been some great results in there as well. So makes for a good show tonight, I think.
Yeah, really good. I mean, just before we start, massive thank you to our sponsors, Baywatch TV, Sun and West End, and If You Care Share Foundation. Massive thanks to you. Obviously, just means so much, isn't it, with the people that's coming forward now and wanting to help as much as they can.
Really does. It's the support getting behind what we're trying to do has been absolutely amazing. But like you said, can't thank people enough for even just tuning in, putting a comment in there. You know, you're taking the time out to do that. So again, thank you very much for that. We really, really do appreciate it.
Definitely. And start with the FA Vars. Obviously, the team that's going through to the next round. We've got the likes of Newcastle Uni, Billingham Town, Newton Aycliffe, Brandon, Horden, CM Red Star, Bishop Auckland, Thornaby, Whitley Bay. There were some cracking results last week, wasn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I think Whitley Bay at the minute they're on a bit of a upward spiral, aren't they? They're absolutely dominating games, getting the results. And again, that's what it's about at the end of the day. I know that they've got a good manager down there, Nicky Gray, as well. So he knows his stuff. He's been around for a while. He knows what he's doing, and he's got the club pushing on the right direction. And some of the football they've played, what I've seen, it's just kind of like, wow. Do you know what I mean? He's taken that club to the next level. You know, so
I was listening along to the Whitley, the Baywatch TV, the live, and I think they were 2-0 3-0 up after 10 or 15 minutes, and I thought this could be double figures. I know they were guessing how many it was going to be, so it was quite exciting listening along to the match. As part of what I did anyway.
It is. It's I do like the commentary because there's that bit banter going on throughout the commentary as well.
Yeah.
If you haven't, get yourselves on there and have a listen to the match commentary because they're all really, really good. Like, so fair play to the lads doing the commentary down there, and fair play to the club in general, to be honest.
Some really good banter. I mean, some of the three games I picked out from there was obviously Sun and West End, who pushed Billingham Town to penalties, lost 5-4 in the end, but so obviously Sun and West End sitting just below mid-table against Billingham Town, who was kind of sitting second at the minute in Division 2. They've done quite well, haven't they, to finish kind of taking the penalties after a 1-1 draw. They've done really well, but obviously Billingham Town coming away with the win after penalties.
Aye, absolutely. It's there's no shame in going out on penalties. Everybody knows a penalty shootout. It's a lottery, isn't it? You either win it or you don't, obviously. But fair play to West End, you know, they've pushed them, and they've taken them that penalty shootout. It just wasn't meant to be this time round, but, you know, kind of take a lot of lessons from that game and push forward for the remainder of your season as well.
Definitely. I mean, the other one, as you say, another kind of penalty game was the Berkeley Town, obviously Division 2 versus Newton Aycliffe, who's doing quite well in Division 1, took them to penalties, lost 4-2. It's another goodwill, but for Newton Aycliffe, but Berkeley Town again, they're doing very well in the league. But this is quite a good result in the Vars. Even though they did get beat, they've pushed a Division 1 team right at the end, haven't they?
Absolutely. I think it's Paul Bryson's the manager down at Berkeley Town as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know he was previously down at Blue Star, but he's been around. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he's actually getting them to play some fairly decent football, and they've been getting the results. Just unfortunately, they didn't get the result on that particular day. But again, another club going in the right direction. And they've got a very, very experienced manager. And I know some of the players, you know, they're developing all the time. They've got vast experience. So hopefully that will kind of come to fruition and they'll kick on again.
Definitely. I mean, the third one, another penalty shot. It's unbelievable how many games actually went to penalties. But another one, CM Red Star, who's kind of sitting bottom of Division 1, who took West Auckland, sitting third in Division 1 at penalties again, getting beat them 4-2, which is a cracking result for CM Red Star. And hopefully that might be able to push them in now in the league as well, won't it?
Absolutely. I know they've not had the greatest of starts, really, have they? So that's going to be a massive thing for them kicking on for the remainder of the season. And, you know, being West Auckland, it's not a bad result, is it? Let's be honest about it, especially the form they've currently been in. And they'll get a lot of confidence from that, and they'll kick on in the league, and we'll see where they go from there. Hopefully, it's enough to get them kind of their season up and running a little bit. You know, why not?
I mean, just going on to the next round as well. I think we're chatting for a good hour the other night about the kind of the games in the next round. Some cracking games, isn't there?
Oh God, absolutely. That's what it's about, though, isn't it? It's what it's about. It's what we get excited for competitions for, you know. I don't even think I can particularly pick out a game that would be that's going to be the game of the round kind of thing, you know. I think there's just that many of them. It's just anticipation, wait and see what happens, you know.
No, some really good. But like you say, any teams that's went through in the last round, congratulations to you, and hopefully the next couple of. I know it's a little while away before next round, but we'll definitely be going over that before the next round as well. A few people watching live now. Thank you very much for watching. I know we're having a few issues with the audio tonight, so bear with us if you can hear it. I think it's from my end on that one. But we're just going to go through some results with the National League, starting with Gateshead. Obviously, that 1-0 away win against Maidenhead on Saturday. Dan Ward. Big win at lifted spirits. I know we had Ian Watson on Sunday, and he kind of mentioned that little win has lifted the camp, haven't they, going into kind of the next week and the results as well.
Absolutely. You could I kind of seen like the highlight reel of that game, and some of the football they played, it was very, very impressive.
Unbelievable.
You know, I think great goal by Wardy, by the way. But the standard football's there. And obviously we were talking to Ian on Sunday, and he's very, very passionate and a strong believer in the work they're doing at the club, and that's now starting to come to the forefront that little bit more, isn't it? You can tell by the standard of the football they're starting to play now. And I said it from the first episode, so I think it'll be absolutely fine. It'll be absolutely fine. Just like Ian said, he's trying to get the lads to play their game. Do you know what I mean? And you're starting to see it now, because Maidenhead's not an easy game. It's not an easy place to go down to. So if they can keep that momentum up and playing football the way they're playing football, why not? But I do think they'll be absolutely fine. I really, really do.
Definitely. I mean, like you say, the lost two big, massive strikers obviously at the start of the season, and hopefully, like you say, they still can kind of possibly bring another lad in if they're getting the goals here and then everywhere, but if they just get another possible striker in, that might just push them up that table a bit more, mightn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, goals win games, don't they? Obviously, I know getting a prolific centre forward, and it's a massive thing, and it gives the whole squad a massive lift as well. You know, that they have got goals in right throughout that team, and they're starting to believe in themselves that little bit more now. So you get that striker in, the world's your oyster. You can go out and you can absolutely dominate teams and get the 3 points and push on for the remainder of your season, you know. And I do strongly believe that's exactly what will happen at Gateshead.
Yeah, like you say, that's 1 or 2 wins. They'll definitely start pushing up the next few weeks. Getting on to the National League North, starting with Darlow, sitting third, doing really well. Saturday, 2-0 win against Peterborough Sports, and Tuesday, that late winner against Blythe Spartans. Unbeaten in all comps now in 7 games, which is great. Like you say, 1 point off the top of the league. They've cracking start, haven't they?
They're absolutely flying. Let's make no mistake about it. They're absolutely flying, and they're the kind of runs of form that you want carrying you throughout the season, because that's going to stand you in good stead for where you end up finishing, isn't it? And they're absolutely smashing it at the minute, aren't they? Let's be honest about it. Like, they really, really are. Long may that continue as well, because I know it's a good setup down there as well, isn't it? So I think Ian kind of touched on a little bit on Sunday as well, didn't he? The setup and stuff we've got down there.
Really good pro, wasn't he? He said, like, he just kind of almost treating as a professional club, which hopefully will get back to that level at one point as well. Spennymoor sitting 14th. I think they need to just start steadying the ship a bit. I mean, it's been a chaotic couple of weeks now. Obviously, Johnson, Morley leaves. But 2-2 draws with Farsley Celtic and Flyer, which against Flyer is a cracking result, to be fair. They're always doing well. Jason Ainsey coming in, temporary charge. Out goes Nia Payne, Jude Oyobi, and in come Tom Allen and Elliot Forbes from Gateshead. 2 cracking signings, really, especially Tom Allen, who are rated at Newcastle at the point as well. And hopefully now they can just kind of steady it and kind of get the score that he wants. And if they are going to stick with Ainsley or a manager coming in, hopefully do that quickly to try and push on a bit now, won't they?
Very personally, I think I would kind of stick with Ainsley, see what he can have to offer there. They say they picked up a couple of points in a couple of games there. It's better than what they were doing in recent weeks, you know what I mean? They were really struggling. And Forbes and Allen, and particularly Tom Allen, I mean, you know, great football. I've seen him a couple of times playing for Gateshead. Very intelligent with the ball. And if you can get him in a run of games, you'll just see what he's capable of doing. Same with Forbes as well. I think they get enough game time, they'll bring the rest of the team up to their kind of standard sort of thing, and they'll push on from that, and they will. I'm a strong believer in that. confidence breeds success, doesn't it? So
that's it. It's always been a good little squad spreading over. Like I say, they don't always bring a massive squad in. They always kind of stick to about 16, 17, hopefully push on. And hopefully now Ainsley, if he is the man to take it forward, can kind of get it the squad that he wants and now push on. There's still, like you say, I know there's been quite a few games played, but we know we're near kind of halfway stage at the moment. So hopefully, fingers crossed, things can pick up there as well. And getting on to Blythe, sitting 21st, Saturday, Tuesday, 2 losses, Hereford 3-0, and obviously Darlow the other night 1-0. But it's a building process under Fenton. I think it's now he's trying to develop his squad and getting the type of players that he wants now to try and push on. I know they had that good spell when he first took over, but I mean, very unlucky the other night against Darlow. It was literally, I think, the last kick of the game. I know I seen on Twitter about 94th minute, still 0-0. It's going to end up with a draw this, and then boom. And what a goal it was by Little as well. But yeah, thoughts on Blythe at the minute?
Like you say, Fenton's came in. He's putting his stamp on things. He wants things done a certain way, and he's playing a certain formation, isn't he? But let's not forget they started off well under him. It's a minor blip, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's a minor blip. They're not playing some bad football. To be fair, they're just not getting the rub of the green. But they'll be absolutely fine under Fenton. They'll be absolutely fine. He knows what he wants. And I know we've got Nathan Buddle, the captain, on Sunday, haven't we?
Yeah.
So it'll be kind of like interesting to see what his thoughts are on how things are going to fly with them. And I think they'll be absolutely fine. Be absolutely fine. You're allowed a blip, aren't you? Do you know what I mean?
Well, every now and again, as long as you don't have too many.
That's it. Like
getting on to the next one, the Northern Premier League. Again, South Shields. I know floodlight field because I know they're very used to that in the past. We're not mentioning going back to the Vars, but 0-0 draw on Saturday with African Collieries, and the Mask game postponed midweek due to floodlight failure. But quite interesting because they both play each other on Saturday for the FA Cup. Might flick the coin and say, nowadays, let's get this game called off. Let's keep it's a massive game, really, FA Cup on Saturday, isn't it? Get through the next round, but I've heard it's vandalism to the floodlights, which if it is, it's a shame. Because the amount of vandalism that you hear in Northern League and people like wrecking changing rooms, breaking in and stuff, it's hard, isn't it, for clubs like that?
You didn't want to be seeing things like that happening. Do you know what I mean? You want to have your local football club in your community. You don't want to kind of move away because you've got some mindless bloody idiots basically having you trying to spoil things for everybody else. You know, and hopefully they can get that sorted out. I really, really hope they do. But you know, there's no need for it, is there? It's just ruining everybody's enjoyment, isn't it? It's not fair on anybody. And then there's an expense to the club as well, isn't it?
That's it, isn't it? Especially floodlights, they'll not come cheap. Mask sitting there, 3-2 win Saturday against Stafford, and obviously the game postponed on Tuesday night. Mortiff lost 3-1 to Radcliffe on Saturday. I don't think they've got a game on Saturday coming, but Fishburne signed during the week, who scored goals for them last season. Hopefully now, like you say, they are sitting around kind of just that, where they just need to push on a little bit, because I think that's where they want to be, up the top half of the table. So hopefully with him coming back in, he can add a few more goals and hopefully push on more of a game going into this, like the halfway of the season, won't he?
Absolutely. I mean, he's going to be a big coup for them, isn't he, getting it back? Be interesting to see what he brings to the table in terms of his experience from previous stint at the club. But you just don't know. It could go really, really well, or could go the other way. And fingers crossed it goes really, really well for him and the club. We'll see what happens from that point. Yeah,
and finishing off in that league with Whitby, which obviously still sitting 22nd bottom of the league, but they've had a little mini turnaround. Saturday won 2-0 at Natwich and a 1-1 draw against Radcliffe midweek. 4 points. It's a start though, isn't it? I mean, obviously a few players outgoing like Giles, Hodwalker, in comes Jake Day and Michael Spellman from Sunderland, which is really interesting because I know he's playing for Chelsea Street United. Last season, the Wayside League, obviously done very well. I think a lot of their players got picked up. I know there's a couple of lads playing in Scotland as well. He comes in, which will be a massive bonus for the club. And it's quite a funny one because I read somewhere this week that Sunderland's letting him come to Whitby because he got a red card. I don't know if he's playing under 23, so he can't play for Sunderland for so many free games or something. So they've loaned him out to Whitby for a month, obviously, to go out and play free games. So they'll go out and play games, and that'll count against that. So in a way, it's quite a sensible move by both clubs, really, isn't it?
Right, because I would make the presumption that suspension would follow him wherever he went to play football. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's the first I've heard of it. I must admit, so I was kind of scratching my head a little bit. Going, well, does the suspension kind of not follow him?
Strange
But
one. I don't know where I heard it, but I don't know if it's true. But if it is, very clever, very, very clever.
very, very clever indeed, definitely.
But a big one there, Matthew Bates comes in as assistant manager. I know he's had experience, obviously, at Hartlepool and stuff like that, but coming in as an assistant manager coach, obviously playing at Premier League level as well, he's going to bring a lot of experience in, obviously, with Haslam still manager at the moment, isn't he?
He is. He's a great player playing in the Premier League, you know, and tap into that experience. Do you know what I mean? Especially where we've touched on Whitby quite a few times, haven't we? The last few episodes and stuff we've done.
Yeah.
If he can't get the best out of those players, and even in and around the club, having his aura around the place, then, you know, you've got to be sitting thinking, well, what exactly is going on here, you know? I know Darren Williams had like a little bit to say when we had spoke to him.
Yeah.
Being interesting, well, great coup for the club, absolutely immense coup for the club. The experience he's going to bring in is, you know, money can't buy that kind of.
Definitely not. I mean, like you say, with Whitby as well, and I think it's just sometimes, I mean, any club, to be honest, I think you just need that new voice sometimes. And I think when a player's hearing the same voice over and over again, especially if you're getting beat every week and someone's trying to keep things positive, and it even hits him after a point where, after a while, you just think, what can I actually do now to turn this around? And you always see it in the Premier League, the new manager bounce and stuff like that. I think it's just with him coming in, it's a new voice in that changing room. And I think it will give them players that little bit extra push over the next few weeks, won't it?
It's a big voice to come into the changing room as well, isn't it? So I know he had quite a lot to say in the Borough changing room back in the day as well. So I'm sure he's going to be one of those kind of characters. If he thinks you're not doing what's expected, he's going to let you know, isn't he? And I think, to be fair, the way things are going down at Whitby, I think that's exactly what the club needs. They need to be listening to people like that. If they want to progress, rather than sitting kind of like towards the bottom end of the table, to me, you've got to be questioning the club's ambition, haven't you? You know, you want to be you want to be getting your promotions and stuff like that. So, be interesting to see how it pans out over the next few weeks. But I will be keeping a closer eye on that one for sure.
Definitely. Getting on to one of my favourite leagues at the minute. I don't know about yourself, but the Northern Premier League Division East, Division 1 East, it's a cracking league for North East, isn't it? And I think I'm really starting to watch a lot of games from the highlight reels and stuff on their YouTube channels and stuff. But starting last week, I know a lot of teams playing the Ep4 trophy, but we had Stockton Town who's sitting first. I think they're going to be, between them and Heaven, it is going to be very close. I can't really watch to see what happens as that pans out. But they played Lincoln United on Saturday, but they lost 3-1 to Heaven last weekend, in the Ep4 trophy, which was a cracking match. I don't know if you've seen any of the highlights on there, but it was a really kind of feisty match, and both teams really going at it, which you want to see, isn't it?
Of course it is. You want to see blood, sweat and tears left on a football pitch, don't you? You want to see these players trying. And Heaven, I think it's, again, and I've said it time and time again, they've got a great setup down there. If you can't get motivated for a game, do you know what I mean? And with a crowd like that and just the whole setup, it's just like, come on, really, do you know what I mean? But it is. Like you say, you want to see the players. We sit and we watch Newcastle week out, and all we've said, we want to see them try. We're not bothered if we get beat. Just put 110% effort in. That's all you can ask for from your players. And Heaven are they're getting the results, you know. Is it Daniel Moore's the manager down there?
Yeah, doing really well.
He's absolutely flying. He's got them playing some absolutely cracking football. So for me, absolutely, take me hat off to them, because that's how you want to see football played. It really, really is.
Oh, really good. And Niall, thank you for watching. And those of you watching now as well, we really appreciate your support. Like I say, it might be a little bit sounding a bit strange now with the audio, but we're going to get that looked at, see what it's about. Next one, Heaven Town sitting second, 3-1 win against Stockton, as we just mentioned there. But also during the week, they beat Shildon 1-0, which was the Bobby Moore derby. Obviously, his new club against his old club. I know he's still playing as well. And a fantastic win. I know I've watched the interview back with him on the Heaven YouTube channel, and he was really proud of the lads. Put a lot of fight into that game, and it was nice to see them come away with the win. And like I say, it's going to be between them and Stockton, isn't it? Who's going to take that league for me?
Absolutely. I think, to be fair, I'm going to put it out there. That fancy Heaven to win it. Like, really do. I just think the setup down there is just absolutely phenomenal, man. It really is. They're only going to go from strength to strength with that kind of setup as well. But it seems to be the whole club's pulling in one direction. And for me, that's a recipe for success, isn't it?
It's massive, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Constant sitting fourth, lost 1-0 FA Trophy to Con last week, but no game this weekend. I think we've got a little break before the next game there. So hopefully might be able to get a friendly or so in there. Dunstan sitting 10th, won 3-0 versus Bootle in the FA Trophy last week in a cracking 3-3 draw with Pontefract on Tuesday. I know a new signing during the week, Finnegan, 72 goals and 115 appearances at South Shields. I know he's been missing for a year, kind of taking a year out with getting a lot of operations done. But what an experienced player like Finnegan to have in your changing rooms, and he's still going to get goals, which you're saying he scored in his debut the other night. It's a cracking sign to have for Dunstan, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely! It's absolutely massive, isn't it? That's like it's pretty much a marquee signing for Dunstan, isn't it? And his goal record speaks very, very clearly for himself, and he will get a lot of goals in that Dunstan side as well. I think they've got a bit of a coup on their hands there, signing Finnegan. Like I do admit. And he's only going to go from strength to strength, isn't he? Because it's a great setup down at Dunstan as well.
Yeah. Like I say, what I've seen as well of YouTube, and I know I'm hoping to get down there and watch the match, but they just set up so strong. And if they'll go out and not just concede a goal, and if they score a goal, then happy days, they might get a 1-0 win. But I think they're trying to rely on the defence of how strong they are, good goalkeeper as well, and trying to build and then have going forward, and hopefully now bringing that extra strike you can get that extra few goals. I know they drew 3 for the other night, but I think that's kind of a one-off for Dunstan where they're drawing in a high-scoring game like that. It's usually quite a close game, isn't it, down Dunstan?
It is. Again, when we've had Andrew Bulford on, he was saying, look, he says that team front to back, he says everybody wanted to play. Like you say, a high-scoring draw for Dunstan, it's kind of a little bit of a rarity these days, isn't it? But they grind out results, you know, and it kicks them on and pushes them up through the table. So fair play to them, because them two want bad results at all, anything but.
Yeah.
I think they'll be absolutely fine. We'll kick on, won't they?
Oh, they will. In North Shield, sitting 12th, lost 2-1 to Runcorn. Heard the scorer down there, an FA Trophy. And they got Brighouse on Saturday. So good luck to them against them on Saturday. And Shildon sitting 17th, lost 3-0 and Saturday against Brighouse. And then obviously lost 1-0. I was just mentioned Hebben on Tuesday. But big news down there, obviously Tunstall and Brown sacked. Not kind of walk. They've been, I don't know if they're expecting a lot more bigger things. I know they took over from Daniel Moore and summer once he moved to Hebben. But yeah, I think they're expecting a lot more than both managers. I think it was like a joint thing where they have been sacked. And I know there's a few players that's now taking charge. I don't know if they're just trying to steady the boat there and trying to get their kind of quality back. But I've heard it from someone yesterday, Alex White, who is kind of helping out now in the management, could be the one who takes it over.
Right.
But I know they're kind of struggling at the moment, sitting 17th, but it's still a cracking job to take. Obviously, but they are above the Northern League and kind of also pushing on to get that next division as well, like we talked about now. It's a good step up, isn't it? And if you get a good side running, get them playoffs, you never know what could happen. But it's a good job for someone there, isn't it?
It's do you know, is anybody going into Shildon to they'll be welcomed with open arms. They've always been very, very decent at what they do. Does a joint manager really work? Can you put across the same ideas? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you can put your little bit in, you can put your little bit in, but how does the agreement come to fruition where he's gone, right, we're good, this is what we're going to do? Because there's got to be some conversations had. Do you know what I mean? Now, I've always said for years and years, there's a joint manager thing, does it work? Do you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see what goes on. But like you said, great job to walk into. Do you know what I mean? So, but we'll see what happens with that one.
Be really interesting. Even Geordie, thank you for watching. Lots watching now, so thank you again for your support. Already said earlier, but apologise if there's a bit of audio trouble as well. But just going back to that joint management thing, Steve, I mean, like you said, we said at Spinning, I said a few weeks ago with Morley and Johnson there. I know what they did with Salford, obviously, they kind of bought the best players in the could and they kind of walked the leagues. But again, you're seeing the same two seem to work, but I think when they haven't got the money to spend and they're kind of getting players in that they may not want, there's going to be arguments starting if they're not kind of winning games and kind of tactics. One manager might want to do it this way, one manager do it that way. It is hard at times, isn't it? When you think about if one person doesn't agree, someone's going to spit the dummy out at the end, aren't they?
Absolutely. And it'd be interesting to get an insight as to how that would work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes, it's great having like two lots of ideas, but then where does the final decision come from with your team selection? How you set up for a game and stuff, you know. It's been fascinating to speak to somebody who's like kind of in that position or has been in that position. it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one.
Really good. I know we had our Northern League special last week, but we've also had some midweek results. So just going through them at the moment. So just start with the Northern League Tuesday Division 2. Bedlington 2, Horden 1, Billingham Town 5, Jarron 0, Bolden 4, Willington 1, Sunderland West End 2, Chester Street United 4, and Washington 0, Wrighton 3. We had the Northumberland Cup, West Lotton 1, Ashton 3, and the Cumberland Cup as well, Carlisle City 13. Braithwaite 1. I know it's one of them results where you always see when they put 13, you've got to put it in brackets just so like people believe what you're saying. But just starting with the Tuesday results again, some cracking results at the top. I mean, Bedlington getting the win at Horden, who are kind of tipped over kind of for the who possibly could be looking at the league. And I know Bedlington's in around that. It's going to be so strong even towards the end of the season. I think there'll still be 7 or 8 teams that's going to be pushing each other going for that Division 2 title, won't they?
Oh God, absolutely. It just shows the strength that's in that league as well. You know, if like you say, you're pushing it towards the end of the season, there's still 6 or 7 teams in and around that. You're kind of thinking, like, come kind of like take it up a gear. You know what I mean? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who wants it more, and it's a good battle to be thinking about as well, isn't it? It's going to get a lot of spectators to games. We'll see what happens in this one. It's an interesting one. It is. It's a really interesting one. One I'm looking forward to,
isn't it? What Neil was mentioning, one goes up and the rest in the. I mean, to finish second, not to go up. It's going to be unbelievable. The 4 teams in the playoffs. Yeah. I would love to get along to see a couple of them games. I mean, Billingham Town mentioned their next 5-0 win against Jarrah. Their goal difference is unbelievable this season. The amount of goals that they're putting in, really, really good. Bolden picking up a 4-1 win against Willington, who's just really struggling at the moment down there. And the one that I was watching from, obviously I was at work, but watching Sunderland West End 2, Chester Street United, it was kind of backwards and forwards the goal. But as soon as one team was scoring, the next team was scoring. It was really good watching it, like catch along on Twitter. And I can't wait to get down on Saturday, which we're going to mention shortly about that as well. Getting on the Northumberland Cup, which for me, as teams that's playing it, it's a massive coup, because if you get to that final, you're playing at St James's Park, and to a lot of players playing for them side, there must be a lot of Newcastle fans, so it must be massive. And I think the next better result there, Ashton beating West Allotment. They're just so strong at the moment, Ashton, aren't they?
Ashton needs Ian Skinner's took him to a different level this season so far, hasn't he? He's got his way he wants to play, and the lads have completely bought into that. And I think they're a team to watch out for. Like you say, there's a lot of jollies in that side. That it's a dream come true to play at St James's Park. I've been there. I've done it twice. And that was in an empty stadium, so never mind, you've got all your supporters travelling down to the game. You know, it's a special occasion. It really, really is. But I do like what Ian's doing up at Ashton, to be fair. Good set of people up there as well, so I wish them all the best of luck as well.
I've hit the post of the Gallagher end. Absolutely good. Hit the post and bounced out for a corner. But I always wind my Sunderland friends up, because I scored 5 goals at the Sunderland Stadium of Life past Ross Turnbull. Remember the Chelsea goalkeeper?
I do. Why? Yeah.
He was playing. That was for a charity game, and everything I hit just flew in. And I was just trying to wind all my friends up in the crowd with Newcastle tattoo out like that. Good memories, man. Good memories.
Once I got dizzy, I went and I had to go back because I was playing right full back, wasn't I? 20 minutes to go back.
Class, man. We're getting on to Wednesday again, some Division 2 games. Well, Billingham Sinfonia 4, Newcastle Uni 1, Blythetown 0, Record Town 4, Easett 0, Borough Rangers 3, and Northumberland Cup Heaton 3, Brother Town 2. So one of the big results that kind of stick out for me is not kind of just that result itself, but Borough Rangers. Really interesting, this one, because I know they're sitting now top of the league in Division 2. Founded in 2003. Won 7 years in a row the North Ryde League up with Middlesbrough, and obviously got moved pretty much to total move, because they're probably too good for that league, obviously, to the Northern League, and they seem to be taking it with both hands, aren't they?
They've took it in their stride, haven't they? I think it's the way results are going. I think they've kind of just transitioned into it quite easily, haven't they? And I think it's probably been a case where a lot of teams before, where they're just new to the division, or they're going to be a bit of a pushover, and they've proven a lot of doubters wrong. You know, they're getting some absolutely blinding results. Let's make 2 mistakes about it. They really, really are. And again, they're going to show teams how to play football. you know, and I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? They're all going to shock a lot of teams in that league, to be fair.
Definitely. I mean, looking at what they've done so far, played 13, won 10, drawn 2, and just lost the 1, it's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the only thing for me, obviously, it looks like they are a team comparable to playing at Ferrens Park at the moment down at Durham, which is quite an interesting, possibly strange setup there. I mean, I was down the last couple of weeks at Ferrens Park, and the pitches, it's awful. I mean, they literally just sprinkle as much of that black plastic stuff down as they can. You can hardly see the pitch, and the floodlights are awful as well. And I know there's a couple of teams that play in the Weir side league, I think it is there, and they've been told that it needs to be reset. The ball just doesn't bounce on it. It's really awful. A few players are going to get injured, but it's quite a strange one where they're travelling to come from possibly Middlesbrough to come and play there week in, week out, isn't it?
It is. I know there was something I watched. There was something on the news this morning. A team, Doncaster City, have recently applied to play in the Scottish League.
I see that.
Something to do with the Scottish heritage of somebody at the club or something like that. How does that work? Do you know what I mean? It's a bizarre one. New Ferrens Park. I think they've kind of like made a lot of their own problems as well, haven't they? Like you say that pitch once upon a time it was like a snooker table to play on.
Unbelievable.
And I mean, I don't know how many teams play up there at the minute, but you know, it's not cheap to really a surface like that either. You know what I mean? It's like, where's the funding going to come from that? Can they afford to do that? Or are they just going to kind of like close that off completely and go, why we're not going to have any teams playing yet? Because I think, is it Durham ladies, they play up there, don't they?
Got all sorts. Like, I mean, I've got the Durham. I think there's Durham United, Durham Cestrians, or someone they're called, and like obviously Borough Rangers. I mean, and then they open all week, Monday to Sunday. You probably have 4 teams on there per hour for the 3 hours in a row every single night, and it's tearing it up, isn't it? Every single time.
What are they going to be charging these teams as well, though? Do you know what I mean? Are you going to be happy to be paying top dollar to play on it and train on a surface like that? You know, me, I'm not keen on that idea. Like, what?
£50 plus easy.
Is it?
And I mean, if there's 4 teams playing on it or training on it every hour, they're making £200 an hour. They must have a good kitty somewhere, or they must be able to get some fun to get it relayed somewhere for that. Because it is massive for the community over there. Because there's not too many 3G pitches in that area, so it is kind of a hub for a lot of Sunday league sides to go and train on midweek, isn't it?
It is. I know I recently covered, I think it was Gated Red Youth, and I got talking to their committee members, and he says theirs is a brand new one, and the pay, I'm sure it was over like 170 grand to have this new 3G pitch put down. So, you know, they've seriously got to be looking at, right, can we afford to do this? If not, what's the alternative? So the teams are now then going to have the headache of where we're going to play our football. We need to find a venue like that. So, yeah, you never know. We'll see what comes out.
Definitely. I mean, just with like they say, the Durham City and the 3G pitch as well, and like you say, it's a lot for the community. I know South Shields are obviously playing on a grass pitch, but then they've got that behind them where it is helping them fund possibly wages for the first team players and stuff like that. It's quite massive for teams, and obviously with the 3G pitches, if they're not playing on them, they rent them out, aren't they?
Well, that's it. It's a steady revenue coming into the club, isn't it? And then they don't necessarily, they've got a setup there for winter training. Or if they need them, they can switch their game from grass to that 3G pitch, which is going to continue their league fixtures.
Yeah.
Going to get people coming through the turnstile. So that there is, it's a steady revenue for any club. I just don't understand some of these places, and I think I touched on it the other week. I just don't understand. Some places have people's eyes out just to say, right, we're going to charge you a ridiculous amount of money to train for an hour. And then they're gone, well, we're here to support your club. Why you're not, because you're quite happy to see a club fork out all this money for them. Then they try and claw that back by holding an extra couple of quid on the tickets for supporters to come in. And they don't believe in doing it. But that's what they're having to do to then kind of financially be a bit stable, at least. You know what I mean? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Me personally, I wouldn't be having anybody's eyes out. I'd be going, right, this is we're separate right across the board. But then the FA should be jumping all over it, and they should be kind of governing that a little bit as well. You know,
especially like Premier League clubs as well. The amount of money that they're making, they surely could help out with the foundations as well, can't they?
Absolutely. I know it was a couple of years ago when Gated were looking at like going under. You've got three massive northeast clubs here, and I don't think any of them help. Do you know what I mean? It's like the revenue you are bringing in just on a shirt sale alone, you could go, right, we'll give you, say, $5,000 of that, and that will keep that club stabilised for a couple of years. Me personally, if I was working in the FA, it'd be the first thing I'd be looking to address.
Yeah.
Because they've got to. They keep pushing grassroots football, but they do little to nothing to kind of support that as well. Do you know what I mean?
They do, don't they?
Aye. Shocking.
No, last thing on the 3G pitches, I think it's as well. You've got to kind of look after them, and it sounds daft, but there's a few times when I've been to drop Park Rock down the Ford Quarry Hub, and there's someone on a grass cutter kind of going over the pitches. A lot of people's like scratching their heads saying, "It's plastic grass. What they're doing?" But I know now they're kind of like they try and get a bit of real grass in with the plastic, don't they? It's like 5G, I think they call it now, or 4G, whatever. And it's like you say, some of the thing, and obviously they put the rubber crumb down every so often, and I think it's how you look after it as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I know my brother-in-law, he was doing some landscape gardening, and he actually went to an event at St James's Park, and he came back. He went, "I'm actually surprised there's actually rubber in the grass at St James's Park." This is because probably it does something with the grass or something like that, and it keeps the grass healthy and it makes it grow, and that's why they kind of like taking care of it. And I was like, do you know, I never even thought about that. Now thinking about it when the sprinkler comes up, do you know what I mean? You're like, I can see it a bit more now. Like, but fascinating concept. Like,
it's made us laugh, that one, because when I used to go with Charlie play a bit over the summer, we used to relay the pitch every summer, but obviously being quite close to the sea, they used to cover under the pitch with seaweed, which is quite a strange one. I don't know if it helped the pitch grow but like on a hot summer day, if the pitch was the rain was on it and the sun was on it shining, sitting in quite close to the pitch, all you could smell was the sea, like seaweed, which had been hard to put, was quite nice, but it was it's quite a strange feeling, like.
I bet.
And finishing off the FA Cup, and that's going to be, I know there's a lot of games played at the weekend, obviously Northern League and other cup and other divisions as well, but FA Cup's got to take priority, and it's 4 massive games, and I think we're just going to go through one by one. South Shields versus Marsk, which I know we're going to put our pick of the games of the week and in the group tomorrow night. But I think this could possibly one for me is the South Shields versus Marsk, and just going with myself first, I think it'll be a really tight game, but I think South Shields will come out on top on that one. I know I spoke to my friend, he really wants a cup run with South Shields, and the players that they've got there's no reason why they can't get a team that's playing a lot higher up and give them a good game, possibly League Two, Conference North, no problem at all. I mean, what's your thoughts on that one? Who are you going for on that one?
I think you've got to go South Shields at home, haven't you? Yeah, they're going to get a bumper crowd down for that one, you know, and it's a no-brainer for me. I must admit, it's a no-brainer. South Shields at home. No disrespect to Marsk, I'm sure they'll give them a good game of football. But for me, I'm with you. Shields to edge it for me, like.
Yeah, the next one, Hyde versus Darlow, which I'm going for Darlow because it's a North East team that's playing in there. But I think with the start that they've had in the league, unbeaten in 7 games now, I fancy them all day to go and get that win and hopefully get it the next round. Are you going for Darlow that one or Hyde?
For Darlow, one for you, definitely 100%. Like you say, it's the run of form they're in. They're looking unstoppable at the minute, aren't they? So I think you've got to back them all the way, like.
Definitely. The next one, Chorley versus Blythe. This one, I would love to say Blythe Spartans. Obviously, I know they have the magic in the cup, but the Chorley's a really good organised side. I've seen them a couple of times at Spennymoor as well. So for this one, unfortunately, I'm going for a Chorley win on this one against the North East team. But I think if my head says Chorley, my heart would love to say Blythe, but I'm going for a Chorley win in this one.
I'm actually going to go Blythe.
Get in,
Blythe. Yeah. I just think they're looking to put things right. So why not go down there? Why not go and give Chorley a good game? And I do think they might sneak it. Maybe it's 1-0, 2-1, but I think it'll be very close. But I do fancy Blythe to win it.
Yeah. And the last one, but not least, obviously Stocksbridge versus Ashton. And I know Stocksbridge is a kind of higher league team, but even Neil Cooper said the other night they're going down there to win this game. They're confident they can go down and get it. And with the players that they've got so many likes of Dale, Maguire, who can just turn the game within an instant. I fancy Ashton to go down there and get a 2-3-0 win. At least, I think. Are you going for Ashton on that one?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I think they've had, did they have a 16-year-old goalkeeper who made a fingertip save the other day as well? Was that Ashton?
Right, I missed that one, huh?
I'm sure
On the cup.
I don't cause I might be completely wrong, but I'm sure it was, and it was an absolutely blinding save. Like, but say they've got Dale Maguire and all that. They're going down there with the sole focus, like you said. Neil said it, of winning that game. And the way they're playing now, Ian's got them playing. They'll go down there and they'll do exactly that. I really, really believe that as well.
Definitely, but no, to all teams that's playing the FA Cup this weekend, best of luck. And hopefully we'll be chatting about at least 4 teams in the next round. I would love to see it. I would love to see it, because I think, like you say, the likes of Gateshead, Hartlepool, and that start coming in, and teams like that in the next round. It's a huge game for someone to go and get, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That doesn't even do it justice, does it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just it's a magical time in cup competitions. So it'd be amazing to have all the North East sides in there. No, it might not necessarily happen because football's a funny old game, isn't it? But why not? The results of late have been absolutely phenomenal. People are talking about the North East football, so why not go out there and do it?
Yeah, really good. Just touching on the weekend as well. Some kind of big stuff coming up on the channel. Obviously, starting with Saturday, it's going to be our first ever video vlog on the channel. Myself and I think Parker's coming down as well, of course. Going down to see Sunderland West End versus Brandon. And I think from kind of our idea of last week, it's just literally gone from 0 to 100 all this week. And the kind of support that we've had from both clubs. I know we put the tweet out on Monday night, I think it was. Within kind of 2 or 3 hours, West End was across, and we've had them now sponsoring our North East show, which we have tonight, in exchange for us to go into the programme, which we were on Tuesday night against Chesney Street as well, which it was fantastic just to see our name in the programme as well. Absolutely fantastic. And I know we didn't have time before the show, because like I say, we had a few issues with the audio, but we actually now match day sponsor on Saturday as well, which is... It's mad. I know we've been on Twitter, we've retweeted it out as well, so we can't thank West End enough. And I had a good chat with the lad down there on last night before Parker's training, and like I say, I really can't wait to see what we can do with the partnership between us going forward as well. And from the post that we put out for the media guy who they wanted down there, they've also managed to fill that this week as well, because of the post that we shared in the group, which is absolutely fantastic as well. But yeah, we're going to be going down there, and both managers from Brandon and West End both want to come on. I know we've had players who fancy coming on to give a little interview as well. I think they want to be famous on YouTube for a couple of minutes. And as well, just lads who's run the clubs as well, both want to come on. It's massive for us, but obviously it's going to get both them clubs some exposure and hopefully more crowd coming down to their games, isn't it?
Well, that's it, like, exactly. Bums on seats, isn't it? To actually enjoy a proper game of football, proper game of North East football at that. Again, massive thank you to Sunderland West End. And good luck for the rest of the season as well. I just think this is what we're about, isn't it? We want to give North East clubs that bit exposure. We want to help them any way we can as well. And I just think they'll go from strength to strength. So again, from myself, and really, obviously, thank you very much for everything you're doing. It's just literally took off massively, hasn't it?
Unbelievable.
It's phenomenal.
I might be getting a new pair of headphones soon. I think that's the problem. And Sunday as well, another massive interview for the channel. Obviously, not a former player, not a former manager, a current player in Blythe Sport and Captain Nathan. But I know it's your birthday today, Nathan, so if you are watching, happy birthday, mate. As well. But it'd be really interesting to come on and talk about, I know he's come through the Hartlepool ranks, obviously Blythe Spartans, Spennymoor, and I know he had that little stint at Carlisle as well in the Football League, so it'd be really interesting to talk about that with him. But another great guest come on the channel. I know we've got a lot lined up between now and the first week in December, players and managers. It's so good hearing stories from them players and managers, isn't it?
It is, and we're kind of giving them the platform to get the stories out there for you, the supporters, isn't it? Use one of your stories, you can sit then put a comment in, and we'll ask the players this kind of like the questions and the answers and stuff like that. I just think it's massive, and I think it's only going to go from strength to strength. And a current captain of Blythe Sport as well. I know a lot of the Blythe supporters will be actually tuning in to watch that one as well. So please get your questions into them as well.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, as well, we've got to mention, obviously, another kind of a partnership that we've made this week, which is If You Care Share Foundation, which for a lot of people in the Northeast, I know obviously Matthew's just done the run a few weeks ago where he's kind of gone from Chesley Street all the way down to London to hand in this petition, which more needs to be done for mental health. And I think it's for ourselves, I know it was quite massive because we have the 2 Facebook groups, we have the channel, that we can put this out there. And if that one person out of the 2,000 people that we've now got in groups and YouTube and stuff like that can help that one person, it's huge for them, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely massive. The job I work in, the support, it's massive. So if anybody ever needs to talk, please feel free to get in touch with myself, or obviously you as well, Really, I know.
Definitely.
Problem half, problem shared, isn't it, sort of thing. But no, please do get in touch. We're always, yeah.
Definitely. But no, just before we go, again, just going over, thank you for our sponsors, Baywatch TV. I know I'm waiting for the programme to come this week with our details in there, which I can't wait to share as well. And obviously, Sunderland West End, thank you again for your sponsorship. And If You Care Share Foundation. Without you, this show wouldn't grow and grow and grow. And I know there's a few Northern League clubs. Hopefully I'm getting in contact with them today. I know there's a few starting to share and retweet our stuff, which is absolutely fantastic as well. But Stephen, again, thank you so much for coming, mate. And I know there's going to be a lot more to talk about over the next few weeks. Building up this World Cup break and getting that word out there. So we're going to push as much as we can to get the fans out there, aren't we?
Definitely. Like I said, this is where you only kind of like where you host and where you have chats. This is for you, isn't it? It's for you to get your views and stuff across.
Definitely. But no, again, everyone, thank you for watching. We do apologise if the audio has been a bit hit-y-missy tonight. We'll get that sorted for our next show. But again, thank you everyone for watching and enjoy the rest of your night as well.